The Veganomicon is one of those cookbooks that's easy to shove in your cabinet and ignore, especially the original edition, this right here. My lifelong friends Mel and Brian bought this for me as a Christmas present more than 10 years ago before I even went vegan, and although I was super grateful for it, and still am, thank you Mel and Brian, I don't think I made anything out of it for several years. At first glance, aside from its epic name, it's not very enticing. There are limited pictures, yes, call me a 5-year-old, I like pictures in my cookbooks, but even a lot of the recipe names are lacking. They're just descriptive of what they are, like plantain and pinto stew with parsnip chips, or bulgur, arugula, and cannellini salad. They just don't sound very inviting. However, it's called the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for a reason. So, I figured I'd put it to the test and make every damn recipe in this thing. So, here are my favorites and my thoughts. If you're new to this channel, we not only decided to make every recipe, but we film them as well. So if you want to check out any of the 241 recipes from the Veganomicon, you can view those right here on this channel, or there's a playlist right over there. Now, onto the cookbook. It was originally published in 2007, and although that was over a decade ago, it feels like one of those timeless classic cookbooks. One of the things I love is that the authors Isa and Terry drop tons of knowledge in here, teaching you how to pick out some of the more uncommon ingredients, tips on roasting veggies, knife skills. I mean, it's pretty much a vegan 101, half textbook, half cookbook. If you've ever considered going vegan and just feel lost, or if you just want to improve your cooking skills, pick this up. I have learned so much and feel much more confident in the kitchen now than I did when I started. And if you need more inspiration, I've narrowed my favorite recipes to the top 10, which was incredibly hard, by the way. I'm even going to give you a sneak peek of my #1 favorite recipe because I'll be cooking that throughout this video. So, let's start with number 10, bulgur, arugula, and cannellini salad. I know, it ain't a sexy name, but it's hot. I mean, it's cold. It's delicious. This is one of those perfect summer salads, but I would eat it any time, so don't feel like you need to wait till summer. It's not only colorful, it's rustic, tangy, a bit peppery from the arugula, and best of all, it's simple to make. And if you're an onion lover, definitely put this on your list. Sure. Truthfully, I really can't compare this to a restaurant variety because, spoiler alert, I've never tried one. But what I can say is this soup is exactly how it sounds. Spicy, with a wonderful acidity, and it is packed with flavor. You also get to work with a mushroom that you may have never worked with before, the wood ear, or black fungus. That leads me to a surprising development of this whole project. I like mushrooms. I may even love them. I mean, they're in multiple of my top 10 recipes. I used to be one of those people that hated mushrooms, thought they were squeaky or slimy in the flavor. Ugh. But after this cookbook journey, that's completely changed. My tastes have definitely expanded. So, thank you, Veganomicon. Oh my god, this is perfect for fall, the holidays, or if you just love pumpkin. It has that classic moist but also dry coffee crumb cake texture with pumpkin in it. There's not really much else to say about this other than it's as good as it sounds. This dish is comfort food at its finest. Now, don't be fooled by the Brussels sprouts and the kale. It doesn't taste like health food at all. It tastes amazing. It's got meaty seitan, lightly braised with wine. It's wonderfully seasoned, and on a bed of rice, perfection. This is going to quickly become one of my regular Indian dishes. All of the classic elements are here. Complexity of the spices, lentils, and most importantly, scoopability. Pairs perfectly with bread, and it's fantastic with rice. I know you're probably wondering why I put potato wedges in my top 5, but they're that good. The bright lemon flavor and the garlic and oregano work so beautifully with these, and they taste just like potatoes you'd get at a Mediterranean restaurant. Yes, these have a lot of garlic, but you won't care what your breath smells like after eating these. Yes, that's a lot of spinach, but you know it's going to shrink down to the size of a quarter. This is perhaps one of the fanciest meals on this list, and it's simply divine. The presentation of this is one of my favorite parts of the recipe. So you have the mashed potatoes, which I normally wouldn't think of with a fancy meal, topped with braised seitan and fresh green beans, all lovingly doused with a white wine and garlic sauce. If this isn't on the menu of a fancy vegan Italian restaurant, I'm opening my own. This soup is the epitome of the phrase, "Don't judge a book by its cover." It ain't much to look at, but you'll be taking it home after one date. The flavors that are in the soup are almost too complex to describe, and they each bring something that you didn't even realize you were missing. Roasted yellow peppers, summer squash, coconut milk, Thai chili peppers, and probably the most surprising ingredient, one whole grated nutmeg. It may seem like a lot, and it will smell like a lot, but it's the perfect amount. This is quite possibly the best soup I've ever had. They got rum, pecans, and a buttery, sugary frosting. Need I say more? I regularly make these at Christmas time, and I've never had anyone throw them back in my face. In fact, they usually fall over themselves trying to get more. And while they're the perfect Christmas cookie, nobody's gonna judge you if you make these in the middle of summer. Trust me. Just call them special summer sandies. And now, drum roll please. I'm bringing my absolute favorite recipe from the Veganomicon out of the oven right now. Good. Mushroom and spinach strata. Alright, I just want to remind you, I used to hate mushrooms. So if this is number 1, you know it's damn good. The texture of the bread is like a stuffing, add in the eggy tofu mixture along with a punch of spices. It's one of the most wonderful and comforting dishes I've ever had. Might I add, it would be the perfect thing to bring to a brunch potluck. Everyone will love you for it. And guess what, if they don't, you get it all to yourself. Alright y'all, few closing thoughts. As much as I love this cookbook, it's not without its faults. There were clearly some editing issues, one instance being they duplicated several recipes in the table of contents, which obviously isn't a big deal. Other times they forgot to include where to add a spice here or there, but probably the biggest mistake I noticed had to do with the pastry that several of the baked goods included. There was clearly something off because I regularly had to add more dry ingredients, sometimes way more dry ingredients, to make the dough more manageable. But in the end, everything turned out just fine. And if you get the new 10th anniversary edition, some cooking methods have been modified, a couple dozen new recipes have been added, and there are tons more beautiful color pictures, which makes 5-year-old Eli very happy. All in all, this Veganomicon journey turned me from an amateur cook to an amateur cook with just a bit more confidence. And for that, I'm grateful. And I know Luke is too. Alright y'all, if you've ever considered doing a crazy thing like cooking your way through a cookbook, this is a great one to do it with. And if you've ever made anything out of here, I would love to know what you thought and what some of your favorites are. I hope this was helpful. If it was, hit a thumbs up. I would love you for it. And make sure to subscribe, share, and comment and all that good stuff. I'll see y'all next time.